Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8, read to you by myself, Natile Sitole, alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories. The acting Prime Minister says violence will not give Eswatini the answers they are looking for and the closure they need regarding the death of Thabani Ngomonye. Senators have condemned some members of parliament who have joined violent protests that disturb the peace of the country. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says there will be no more cross-border crossing for trucks on Friday. And now our bulletin in detail. The acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku says violence will not give Eswatini the answers they are looking for and the closure they need regarding the death of Thabani Ngomonye. Masuku was addressing the House of Assembly about what government is doing to end police brutality and also get the cause of death of Thabani Ngomonye.
When the House of Assembly resumed with its parliamentary business, the acting Prime Minister, His Excellency Themba Masuku, delivered a ministerial statement in the House where he was briefing Parliament about the events of the past 3 weeks or so. Masuku informed the House about what government has done with regards to the death of Thabani Ngomonye.
While reeling from the effect of these protests, we once again saw another ugly situation last Friday, the 20th of May, during the memorial service of Thabani Ngomonye, where once again violence erupted. We do not condone police violence where it rears its head, as we expect police at all times to conduct themselves professionally and within the confines of their ethos. Similarly, we should not condone attacks on police.
Some honorable members who reacted to the statement commended government for acting swiftly in as far as sending their condolences to the Ngomonye family. Some are not happy with the reaction that they've received from members of the public who want to see parliamentarians having a voice in this issue. They are saying, let the coroner deal with all issues related to the death of Thabani Ngomonye so that we can all have closure in this matter.
What is it behind? Mr. Speaker, with the frustration kubantabasha ngendlela kumbe labaphatheke ngayo eve asesibukele ukuthi what can we do ukuthi balabasha bakithole nabo ukuthi kuleli live bamukelekile.
Indzaba lethi tabo police brutality. This is a global scourge. Akwendeke Eswatini kuphela, kwendeka in the most sophisticated democracies as America, kuseNgilandi, South Africa. I-research yami lana nje beyingitshela ukuthi eSouth Africa more than 2 million abantu ba-attend ama-demonstrations and kuyo khanze ukuthi kutawugcina sebapheke i-violence, extremism from both sides, kugcineke sekuyalinyadwana. Because kumele sithi sikubuka singa-associate ngathi kwenteka ngakithi ngoba mhlawumbe sinjani. Into betenteka-ke nje emhlabeni yiko bekudingeka kokuthi sibe nendlela yokuthi
by the time of compiling this report, the House was still debating the Prime Minister's statement and he was yet to respond. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Linton Kule with Fortune Langamanda in Parliament.
Cabinet ministers and members of parliament have condemned some of their colleagues who are seen allegedly causing commotion between parliament and the nation. This came out after the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku had delivered his ministerial statement.
Cabinet ministers and members of parliament have strongly criticized some lawmakers who are seemingly setting up parliament against the nation. According to them, this has resulted in some people insulting the MPs as their cell phone numbers were leaked to social media users.
Mr. Speaker, usuyisela labalawata uphenya lenzaba bese sikhulumisa lombiko.
Indzaba ye-incite violence. Uthathe umlilo bese ufaka petrol. Unacceptable.
Umyanguda la usumani. Ngitsimela semkhonjong speaker evakolo to. Le link ethi uyakhulunywa nawe. Nawe ukhona lokukhulumako. Nawe ukhona lokukhulumako. Nawe ukhona lokukhuluma naye ku-level lo lingana. Ngiyacela singakukhohlwa speaker lokhu. I-principle yaNkulunkulu.
The acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku responds to some of the questions. In his response, he touches on that the judicial inquest investigating mysterious death of Thabani Nkomonye should not be put under pressure so it can do justice to the given task.
The pressure lesuka social media nalabana bakhuluma kubamemete batawenda ukuthi ngalo phenyo nongabe phenyo the stouts now lelo kepha sisho njalo sithi aluhambe lendele ngendlela yakho kepha ukuthi sithatha kume kusasa ngoba sesijalelo ungasenteki lokukhava letingoni ekufanele iphume nalokufakazi lokufakazi bekahamba kwenkantolo ngoba kusenkantolo justice is served and delivered. Isuka la kule inquest. The inquest akusiyo inkantolo. Itawuveta nalokuhlobahlonipha yabahlonishwa lababoni
Notable is that about 44 members of parliament reacted to the acting Prime Minister's statement, and the House was in session for almost 6 hours. Also noted is that most MPs complained about some members of parliament who are seemingly inciting violence in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Parliament.
Senators have condemned members of parliament who are among certain groups that are disturbing peace in the country. The senators expressed their views after the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku read his ministerial statement, which touched on the death of Thabani Nkomonye, allegedly in the hands of police.
After the acting Prime Minister had responded to questions and concerns raised by the House of Assembly, he proceeded to deliver the same message in Senate chamber.
The fair justice bese kuqaliwe lokukwenta lokho ngendlela lesemthethweni. Lakhona kwenta uhulumende angafuqwa umuntu. Sumile nje uhulumende wathi ngokucize indzaba lephepha kwabantu nenhlala kahle akwenteke. Madam President, nakufikwa lapha la kwafikwa khona kwatholakala ukuthi labantu babefuqa nalamaphoyisa lathi yasekela ukuthi kungede kwalinyatwa tindoda abantu nabefika lebashana le station ngematshe bashisa kuhlahla lapha ngaphandle labantu labathi bafuna justice nabesuka lapho bashuqa bangena emgwaqweni wakamanzini besuka kodwa laba mlalelako bashuqa bashonane la indleleni lo munye uthatha imoto uyiqheketiwe police hlanhla mhlambe bangamjubita inyawo kepha bakhona labamsida.
After having finished delivering his remarks, senators also deliberated the ministerial statement. The senators condemned in strong terms the actions of some members of parliament, saying what they were doing was not only wrong, but also undermined parliament.
Maneso usithikameta njengokuthi sithole ukuthi singuhulumende wezinkundla lesonke singene la alohulumende wezinkundla ungathi sekukhona la sesiphambana khona nalesi kanye nabo endlini yasikhathatha ke lokho
manje mina ngabe kutabane nebantu labala embusweni labatawuhamba bawuphaka imbile la lapha ngasiyona wakhona sithule God iParliament lo mthetho wala iParliament ukuvikela na ukhuluma la endlini
sesingena nje thine ngaphandle neke ukuthi ke bese yena sesendlulela nje sekutsaneni awu mina noma ngafa noma ngabanjani kahle bonkosi
sikhumbude mhlambe nabahlonishwa labakhona ule parliament lokuthi phela inkosi yacela sipho lesikhulu sekuthula.
Senator Moimoy Masilela says he wishes that electorate can be given power to recall elected members of parliament, especially if they are no longer serving their interest. At the time of compiling the report, the acting Prime Minister was yet to give responses. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Parliament.
The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade has confirmed that there will be a normal cross-border crossing for trucks from the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini. In a statement issued by the Minister Mangoba Khumalo, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade wishes to clarify that all cross-border crossing for trucks will continue as normal on Friday, the 28th of May 2021, contrary to circulating reports suggesting the opposite. Minister Khumalo says the ministry wishes to state that no such position has been taken by government as stated through viral audio posts. He says these posts are being issued by unknown people who are attempting to cause anarchy and frustrate trade across the two countries. He adds that the Royal Eswatini Police Services have already been alerted on these posts and are investigating their origins. He concluded by urging the business community to continue with trade as normal and adhere to the necessary cross-border travel protocols. The Parliament of the Kingdom of Eswatini notifies members of the public, individuals, organizations and stakeholders that the Senate Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of ICT will be conducting public hearings on certain bills combined with their chief objectives. This was revealed by Clerk to Parliament Benedict Kaba.
The Computer Crime and Cybercrime Bill of 2020, Bill number 19 of 2020, to criminalize offences committed against and through the usage of computer systems and electronic communications networks to provide for investigation and collection evidence for computer and network-related crimes, to provide for the admission of electronic evidence for such offences, and to provide for incidental matters. The Electronic Communications and Transaction Bill 2020, Bill number 20 of 2020, to regulate electronic communications and the use of e-government services and to provide for incidental matters. The Data Protection Bill 2020, Bill number 21 of 2020, to provide for collection, processing, disclosure and protection of personal data, balancing competing values of personal information, privacy and sector-specific laws and other related matters. Those interested in making submissions are advised to contact the committee clerk in Fombiangwa Dlamini at 79101522 or email at ntf.pal@gmail.com or adminpal@swazi.net. The deadline for registering interest and forwarding submission is Thursday, the 3rd of June 2021 at 1400 hours. The announcement has been issued by Clerk to Parliament Benedict Kaba. For Eswatini TV News, Zodwa Dlamini, Babane.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has started a campaign of teaching residents in communities across the country about the importance of having civil documents. The Deputy National Civil Registrar at the Ministry of Home Affairs, Russell Ngumalo, says this exercise will help the government calculate and have the correct number of the country's population. Ngumalo was speaking during a teaching session conducted by the Ministry of Home Affairs with Metula residents at Mbabane Chiefdom.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has visited Metula constituency following an incident from last year where 14 Form 3 pupils had challenges registering for their final external examination as a result of not having identity numbers. The Deputy National Civil Registrar at the Ministry, Russell Ngumalo, says a lot of people are under the misconception that acquiring civil documents is complicated and expensive. Ngumalo says this exercise is aimed at bringing light to such misconceptions.
Bumcoka bekuthi umuntu abe naso sichazabuve sakhe. Kanti futhi nako konke lokwendekako empilweni yakhe umuntu kungaba kudalwa uthatha umfati noma kuthathwa nekushona. Siyafuna ukuthi uhulumende abe nayo yonke leyo information leyo. Atowati ukuthi kwendekani eveni nekuthi bantu bangakhe eveni. Esikhathini lesinengi uyukhanza ukuthi live nje lifuna kwathi ukuthi sibangaki. Lisebenzisa estimates la qhamuka ku World Bank. Kanzi ke tinto leti njena ngito leti tasita thina singihulumende ukuthi sikhiphe statistics laliqiniso. la true reflection ngokuthi vele bantu bangaka sathi nje ukuthi lana enkundleni emethula bangakhi banifana labakhona bangakhi labadzala labakhona lesebengaduli kwa 60 lekumele ukuthi ngabe sebacala bahola imali yabogogo.
Buchopho of Mbabane Chiefdom Kola Mieni thanked the Ministry of Home Affairs for the exercise.
Kakhulu sithokoze kakhulu etikweni la Home Affairs ufika kwalo ngomnyathela lifika nje itiko lilandzela sidingeko lesibonayo lesicishe ngathi it's a tony issue nje kulamalanga nalamangweni lokuthi abantu abaningi bethele certificate letekudala sithi ke abake betokufa from the horse's mouth because sithine uhulumende uyasitshela letinkundleni but ke na ubabita labantu batshela yenteka lokunye ungachaze ngalokwenele.
Malo emphasized that parents should motivate and assist their children when they turn 16 years to register for identity cards, as it is free of charge. For Eswatini TV News, I am Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuva Shongwe, Metula.
The Kingdom of Eswatini has joined the rest of the continent in commemorating the Africa Day 2021. Eswatini National Council of Arts and Culture CEO Stanley Dlamini says Eswatini will host celebrations the whole week until Saturday.
Africa Day is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity on May 1963. It is celebrated in various countries on the African continent under the theme Arts, Culture and Heritage. Eswatini National Council of Arts and Culture CEO Stanley Dlamini says the Kingdom of Eswatini has joined the rest of the continent in commemorating Africa Day by hosting events the whole week until Saturday. He says on Tuesday evening, the National Museum will host an event where activities including cultural dances and performances by local artists will take place.
And this day is basically for celebrating the milestones that we have had as Africa, but more than anything else, it is building the Africa we want. As the theme for this year says, we look more into our youth to ensure that they participate in the economy of this country. They participate in economies of the member states. And as arts and culture, most of the programs that will be on display, the youth will be taking the leading roles in those spaces.
He says there will be a fashion show on Friday evening hosted by Mrs. Africa at House on Fire and a commemoration at Sibebe Resort, which will bring different nationals living in Eswatini together. Reporting, I'm Lungilile Makakula with Mbongwa Dube in Manzini.
The invasive Mexican sunflower, which has resurfaced in the country, is dominant in areas where the soil is left bare. That is according to the acting senior forester Sibusiso Dlamini in the Ministry of Tourism and Environmental Affairs. Dlamini says the ministry is already working with the different municipalities to eradicate the spread of this alien plant.
The Mexican sunflower has shown rapid growth in some areas of the country where it has dominated and has spread significantly. Acting Senior Forester in the Ministry of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Sibusiso Dlamini says the best way to eliminate their growth is by cutting the tree before it sprouts.
Once you have an area that has been disturbed, like when they are cutting grass around the roads and also clearing around the fields, it actually sprouts from there, because once you open the ground bare, then it grows faster than the grass. So that's why you see it all over the place. And it's got its uses as well. You can use it as fertilizer. You cut it down, then it enriches the soil. Or else you can actually take the leaves and put the leaves in water, let them rot in there with the water.
Director of Agriculture Nelson Mavuso says farmers should be vigilant of this species because they are a super spreader and they utilize all the soil nutrients, leading to a poor harvest of crops.
Where it's growing, it's actually extracting most of the nutrients that we'll be requiring for other things. So it's important that we manage that. And I must mention that the alien invasive species are actually taking over the entire country. In fact, there are about 9 of them in the country, counting Bolantana Camara as one of them, Triffid wheat is another one. The wattles, they are also part of the because of the behavior that they have. when they get to a place, they take it over and destroy everything that grows next to it.
Emaswati are urged to keep cutting down trees of invasive alien plants. Reporting for Eswatini TV, Nomalungelo Jele with Muzi Mkhonda in Mbabane.
Eswatini's The Knowledge Institute, TKI, has claimed the first position in a global social innovation challenge run by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the USA. The Knowledge Institute was awarded the first position prize of 300,000 Malangeni, an equivalent of $20,000 for conceptualizing and developing a centralized and standardized online application system which can be used by all tertiary institutions in Eswatini in an effort to break the many existing challenges students face when they apply for admission into local universities and colleges.
Every year, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, in the United States of America hosts the Social Innovation Challenge to encourage organizations world over to come up with technologies that can solve existing social problems. In Eswatini, the social problem identified by the Knowledge Institute was the lack of a harmonious, less cumbersome way of applying for admission into the country's colleges and universities. The Knowledge Institute's Executive Director, Fanele Chester, says the online system has been developed to standardize and centralize Eswatini's online applications for tertiary institutions. Chester says this system will make it more easier and affordable for students to research about programs offered by tertiary institutions and to apply.
We're excited because this will solve many problems for students who struggle when they're applying to higher education in the country. For example, they will be able to know all of the different options that are available for studying in the country as opposed to one or two options that they may be exposed to. Students may not know that there are up to 80 colleges and universities that are available in the country. So this will enable them to apply for the colleges that are suitable for their skills and that are suitable for their interests. Secondly, by making the application online, it will reduce the cost of traveling to institutions to request an application form and submit an application form.
Vanele says a prototype of the central application system is already in place and a pilot project for its use will soon be conducted. She encourages all universities and colleges to make use of this portal once it starts working. Even institutions offering vocational training like catering, welding and other courses, as the target is not just to enhance degree or diploma courses but to provide for flexibility across all sectors. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Muzi Mkhonda in Mbabane.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. The Eswatini National Football Association Technical Director Bekisisa Mkhonda says playing 3 games in 7 days for the Premier League has improved some aspects of the games in the country. Mkhonda was speaking in an interview with journalists from this broadcaster in Lubamba.
With football allowed to return under abnormal circumstances where they had to play more games in a shorter period of time, it was expected that some teams will not be able to cope with the demands of playing at least 3 games in 7 days, since it's something that has never happened in the country. After the first round of games in the MTN Premier League, the Football Association Technical Director Bekisisa Mkhonda has given his assessment of the games. Mkhonda says the teams have shown improvements in technical areas and tactical, but lacking in fitness.
Badlala cishe 3 games a week. Singathi technical babukeka bangcono. Shothi uyabona ngathi ikhona element of improvement kuma passes, because as badlala now and again lama combinations abangcono. But nase singakhuluma nge-intensity, which is the pace, and all i-pass now i-competition kulalele eminye iminyaka la ukhanza ukuthi badlala kanye ngeviki because basuke ba-fresh. So ngasho the difference, technical, tactical, more and more teams are becoming more and more organized. But when it comes to the physical level, of the players, I'll say across the board, iyabonakala ukuthi ayikho dulu kangako because abasitholi lesikhathi sekuphinze bahambe kuthiwa bayoloda futhi.
Mkwenda says teams like Young Buffaloes and Royal Leopard, who rotate their squads during matches, are able to keep their teams fresh and are able to produce the result at the end. He concluded by saying if the Premier League can at least allow 2 games to play per week, that can greatly improve the standard of the football in the country going forward. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Linda Dlamini Lobamba.
The Eswatini Swimming Association has set up new subcommittees that will be dealing with different responsibilities within the association. The president of the association, Herman Jele, says the main reasons for coming up with the committees is to see the sport grow in all aspects. Jele was speaking during the association's meeting in Eswatini.
The Eswatini Swimming Association had a meeting where they were discussing issues on how they can improve the standard of the sport in the country. With this being off-season for swimmers, the association saw it as the perfect time to implement new ideas that will help grow the sport. It was at this meeting where a decision to set up a new 4-subcommittee that will deal with different responsibilities was taken. The president, Herman Jele, explains on the importance of the committees.
When I selected these committees, the area of swimming and the areas that need to be dealt with are very vast. And between a president, a vice president, a secretary general, and a treasurer, it's just not enough to see to the key functional areas. These particular committees let out deal and issues about marketing. Marketing, we want to strengthen our brand awareness and our identity. We want to look at my issues about sponsorship. We want to have functional areas that will address this. So realize the limitations within the given positions. No. In order to engage the members on our board, it's a sense of ownership, a sense of partnership within the executive. These functional areas, our collective vision together.
The committees will be the Healthy and Safety Committee that will be headed by Lucas Melan. Makoro will be on the development of the sport. Kisti Lakin will be the technical director and marketing officer will be Bongiwe Dlamini. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Linda Dlamini, Sulwini.
Well, Eswatini, that's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. The acting Prime Minister says violence will not give eMaswati the answers they are looking for and the closure they need regarding the death of Thabani Ngomonye. Senators have condemned some members of parliament who have joined violent protests that disturb the peace of the country. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says there will be no more cross-border crossing for trucks on Friday. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the crew at Eswatini TV. Thank you for joining us. Good night.